Hey folks, and welcome back to Lonely Horde Guitars. So I had to pause this project for a few weeks, but we're back at it. Hopefully it didn't leave too many people hanging. So what we're going to try and do today is we're going to try and finish up everything on the back panel and this capacitor that is going to be hidden underneath the turret board. So again, we'll probably try and work, one direction. And the first thing we want to do is there's a couple of yellow lines that go from here to the turret board. So we need to have about this much length, but this set is twisted, which is going to significantly shorten that length once we get everything twisted. But this being, I think, pretty much the last chunk of yellow that we need to deal with, we're going to go ahead and just take this chunk, snip it in half, and solder that in here. And there is no notch, so we want to snip the tab off here. Should be able to just grab it. Give it a little bend until it pops off. Alright, these two lugs are going to be shorted together, and then this lug gets capacitor to ground. Hopefully I've got this tilted enough so we can see what's going on down here. It is a little janky. I've just got a couple clamps here on the outside edges to keep this from sliding forward, and just a couple chunks of wood to tilt it up a little bit. So we're going to run bus wire along the back of all the caps, and I've just got a piece of tape here to hold it in place. It's kind of one of those things I'm going to need 3 arms to do, so let's go ahead and solder that in. I'm going to do a 4.7K resistor to ground from this lug and have a little bit of gray to run. No, this one right here. Alright, so we need to have about that much. I'm going to have a little bit of a black wire to go up to one of the turrets. Right here. Okay, so we do not leave a whole lot of length there. This lug is alone, does nothing. This lug connects to here. And this lug is going to go over to here, but then it shares a wire. So let's do the one that is sort of standalone first. Now this lug goes to ground. We are starting to run shy on bus wire. I think we only have a couple more, like 3 more things left to do with it. Let's see if it holds out. About yay much. This guy needs to make it all the way to here. Middle lug goes to this lug here. This lug goes all the way up to here. Finally, this guy, that green, comes all the way from our in, and it shoots me across here, so there might be a reason for that. So let's do that. Where did I put my wee bit of remaining bus wire? This green comes all the way down here, and this connects to our middle guy here, but then there is also a little capacitor there. So this guy's going to go from between these 2 lugs. Now this is probably where a lot of care should be taken. When you're looking at these input jacks, the diagram is laid out like this, but you're going to solder them in like this. We'll do this bottom stuff first. Okay, we're going to start with the bottom jack here, and this is actually the last of the bus wire. So that is, I think, we had exactly what we needed. There is no buffer there. Let's go ahead and we're just going to solder in the top one here. The bottom one has like 3 other things coming into it. And 1 meg resistor going between here and here. And then we're also, this coming off of that last tube socket is going to get a 68K resistor and go into there. So let's go ahead and wire in that 68K resistor. And then we're going to have ground wire going from here to this lug. That's going to be shared with the resistor. This needs to hook into here. And then we need to have another run to go up to the same lug, but on the top jack. Snipped that right off and did not leave myself much of a buffer there. Alright, disaster averted. I do have a 68K resistor, a little bit nicer tolerance one. Now we just need to clean up this mess a little bit so that I can get it attached here. Now we're going to do a little bit of gray wire off of this lug. So let's go ahead and hang that off there before we start working on the next guy. So this wire is going to go to the bottom lug, and gray is going to go to the top, and then it's also going to shoot off in that direction, and the black is going to go to this bottom lug here. So let's do the bottom lug first. That'll be the hardest to get to. You want to make sure that this one resistor that's just sort of bare there, none of the bare leads contact wall or anything like that. Okay. Alright. So this needs to go, this gray one, it's going to go to this turret right here. So we don't need to give him a whole lot of space, but just enough. Alright. Now, we've got a few ground wires that we need to do off this bus right about here, and do our capacitor, and then everything on the chassis is done, and it'll be time to work on the turret board. Okay, to ground this capacitor, we did need a little bit more ground bus wire, and that is, we have run out by what was included in the kit, but I had some handy, so we're all good. A little bit thicker stuff will do the job. One more ground wire. This one is going to go right here, so it does not have to go far. And then 2 red wires coming off the capacitor. One is going to go to this spot here. Am I looking at that right? Yep, that guy. And one is going to go to this one. All right, and I think at that point we are done for this iteration. So, we got everything on the chassis wired up. We've got all kinds of wires hanging here, so when we come back in the next video, we will fish those through the various holes on the turret board, wrap and solder to the outside of the turrets with all the wiring, and then there's a couple places on the turret board itself where we've got wires running across the face of it, and then start getting into putting the components in. So if you're doing this at home, now's a good time to go over your wiring diagram, double check that you actually made all the connections that you were supposed to. I will be doing the same off camera. And if this is the kind of content you like, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you at the next one.